Welcome to another episode of Leches Radio, representing 1/3 of the trio. It's yours truly, Mr. Rad. So, gentlemen, what's going on?
Yo, we here, man. Happy fall, y'all. Autumn, the equinox, we ready. Fall solstice, man. It's good to be back.
No doubt. So, guy Rinsmatic, what it do?
And as always, if you have found us now, you can find us everywhere else on Leches Radio, at everything else on all social media. That's YouTube, Instagram, everywhere. And with that said, Brandon, Mr. B Stacks, we got a special edition today. Take it away.
Absolutely. Welcome y'all tonight. This is only our second guest this season. We've been keeping it kind of intimate on these episodes, but we have an artist, Philadelphia, born and bred, Kuf Knotz and Christina Elise with us tonight. Before we get into just give a clap up, man. A round of applause, some props for them.
This is the audience. Thank you.
When we put this out, they'll be in the comments. It's cool.
Nice find, Brandon. And once again, guys, thanks for taking time to join in on do this interview with us at Leches Radio.
Indeed,
for sure.
Indeed.
Yes. So before
B-Stacks, how did you guys link up, sir?
Yo, can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. All right. So while he's figuring it out, I'll just say, hey, how did you guys you and Brandon first link up?
I believe it was in Philadelphia at a venue called Green Street.
So you know what?
Green Soul, was it?
It was before Green Soul. So I want to say 2008.
Oh, World Cafe.
Oh, wow, that was.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going back. Oh, okay. Wow.
Yes. So between 2008 and 2010, Kuf was running the, I don't remember the actual name of the events, but it was like a Philly Rising Stars, and Kuf would open and kind of MC the whole show. And then sometimes he would perform, and a group called LP Styles was up and coming. And it was about 4 or 5 of them, man. Like, they were killer. Shout out to them, all instrumentalists. And Kuf would like occasionally join them and as the MC. And I was like, yo, this dude is like phenomenal, man. Since then I was a fan, man. And then Green Soul was when we actually kind of like
reconnected. Yeah,
had an actual like conversation, and we took a picture that night. My mom was there, Christina. It was all
nice.
Okay.
Oh, so this has been in the making. I like this.
A minute.
So I saw them in Reading this summer, I want to say.
Yeah.
By happenstance, you know what I'm saying? Like they happened to be playing at the Reading Distillery.
Yeah.
I think that's where I asked him, like, yo, man, would you be down to chop it up with us? And we've been trying to figure it out ever since.
Indeed.
But I'll fast forward, man. You guys are like fresh from that Alaska tour. I was celebrating, and so and Lorenzo has seen you live too. I really hope for you live.
Word.
And you guys are active, man. Like, y'all are. Like, I can't keep up.
It's the good kind of busy. It's the good kind of busy.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. Just how is it, man? What is the here and now for you guys? Before we kind of like get into the past and all that good stuff.
So like you said, we're fresh off of that Alaska tour. Alaska is crazy.
I've never been. How, like, what's it like? Like, what leads you? You're right. Like what I know like it's good to spread around there, but what led you guys to Alaska?
So originally what took us there is someone there had a grant to bring artists there in the winter. So it's dark 23 hours of the day, and it's extremely cold. And so they wanted to bring artists there that could kind of like lift the spirits of the people living there.
Wow.
And so someone recommended us, and he reached out, and we're like, Alaska? I'm like, what? Yeah. And then, I mean, we went, but one thing we were like, if we go, we can't just go to Alaska and do one show.
Yeah.
We're like,
It's a
so
long flight.
yeah.
That's equipment. That's a lot of, like
It's a lot. It's a lot. So the person that was bringing us, we talked to him and was like, is there any way you can set up a few shows for us? So he reached out to a few people, and then we did some homework and found venues there and reached out. And a cool thing about Alaska is a lot of the venues out there and people out there work together. So if they know an artist is coming that far to come perform, they all work together to build a tour for them. So
wow.
yeah,
Nice. All hands on deck. Nice.
yeah. So we did that in 2018, and then we've been going back since.
Oh wow, nice.
Yeah.
23 hours. Wow.
Yo, crazy. But to be honest,
Worth the flight?
yeah. To be honest though, we this time we went in the summer, and it's 23 hours of light. And that's more wild than the dark. Like that's more trippy than the dark.
It's probably harder to try and go to sleep, right? The sun's still out, right? That probably messes like
yeah.
with the circadian rhythm and all that. Wow, that's awesome.
That's crazy. All right, well, I bought the tape. I got the community.
Yep, and I was gonna comment on that. I like the merch game that you guys have up is all. I love physical media still. Like I'm showing my age when I like something, and I love that. Yeah, I like whenever album somebody could come out with something tomorrow, and like I love that you guys offered it as a cassette too. Like that's just that's our era. Like it's you know what I mean. I thought that's awesome. Brandon, I realized you had it.
Yeah, I had to run back and grab that real quick. I got the CD too. The first album I got on CD, which is now on streaming, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, you have music that like how, I guess, how many albums or projects do you both have that it's not on platforms?
Us two together have 2 albums altogether, but one we strictly just did just CDs, and we recently put it up on Bandcamp, but for the longest, like 2 years, 3 years, we just had it as just available at the shows.
Is that like is that like incentive? Like, hey, if you want to come out, because I think that's smart. I think that's very smart.
For sure. And it's like in a time where everyone's streaming music, it's a good way to still earn money off of the music you make.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got because I have the CD, which I told you guys in person that first LP is amazing. I mean, it's this part one is dope too, but.
And because you mentioned it, I wanted to ask, and I'm pretty sure like anybody who is conversed with you about the album, everything is spelled phonetically. It was an exercise reading. I was like, oh, community, but all the song titles.
Yeah.
What was because I noticed your other, like your solo albums, your albums apart from the project with Christine are just listed and titled regularly.
Yeah.
What led to you guys titling it that way?
I think, I like a lot of visual art. Like I like graffiti. I like, any type of visual that's stimulating, I'm drawn towards. And I just felt like the look of it, the aesthetics of it was really dope. And then also it was kind of like, it made you think a little like, because a lot of people think it's a different language. Like a lot of people are like, what language is that?
At quick glance, yeah. If you said that and someone's like, oh yeah, I can see that, and just not realize it is in English.
Yeah. But the hardest part about it was like a lot of times, like, so for that album, we had a radio team that was promoting it and sending it to different stations. And so the stations would just say the album song number.
Yeah.
They took the easy way out. Oh. No, I thought that was clever. I saw that, and I just it's very rarely that I get to ask somebody like on any level, what was the creative process that went into? I can honestly say I've listened to a bunch of albums in my life. I'll be listening to music to the day I die.
Right.
I haven't seen that pulled off. I haven't seen that done. So that's
That's a
very
good
original.
thing.
That's very original. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are fresh, man. I mean, like the new age soul hip hop aesthetic is something that's hasn't really been done. So I feel like this is a perfect time for y'all to strike. Let's kind of go from the present on the way back. So like, how did listen, man? It's not too many MCs that have a vocalist who's ill on that harp like that. So it's like, how did that accumulation come to be?
So I had a band before this, like I guess it was like a six member band, and we did a show for an organization that Christine worked for. And so she saw the show there, and then a few months later we randomly ran into each other at a Whole Foods, and she's like, I saw your show, I enjoyed it. If you ever need a harpist, I'm available.
Just putting it out there. Yeah. Smart.
In my head though, I'm like, a harpist? like how would that work? But I was interested. I'm like, why not? So I sent some instrumentals that I was working on and had her improv over it, and she sent it back, and I was like, that it sounds dope. It almost worked, like, because if you've seen her play or listened, like a lot of times she's very rhythmic, but she plays very repetitive, so it's almost like working with a live sample.
So it's like, it's like the control, except she's doing it in real time.
Like that loop going.
Exactly. So it fit in really nice. And then it also gives another lane when it comes to like performing in venues and stuff. The fact that she could just play a song on the harp and I could rap over it, it opened a lot of different doors for different venues. Like we've played in libraries, in coffee shops, hospitals. So it started as one thing and then just grew.
Yeah, I noticed. I saw you guys were at like a train station almost. I forget, like it had an open space for a venue, but to add on to what you're saying.
I think that was the Asbury Jazz.
Yes.
Jersey.
There's a lot of like places I never would have imagined performing at as a hip hop artist.
Yeah, and that's a good and I think like similar to your point with the visual appeal of the track listing. I mean, I haven't been to like every show in the world, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know how many times I've seen a hip hop show and there's somebody playing the harp up there. So I think that adds, again, like you guys are definitely thinking outside of the box.
Yeah, for sure.
But Christine, we'll pose the same question for you. You know, what allured you to? Because like again, it's not. Unfortunately, like the harp is not associated with hip hop as much as people would.
She's bringing it. She's bringing it. Christine's bringing it.
Well, it was really his lyrics, and also that night that I saw him, his collaboration of the band was already interesting. There was 2 keyboardists on stage, which is like you really never usually see 2 keyboardists on the side, like playing different things. One was playing key bass, one was playing lead keys. And just his message was something I really never experienced live before. And when at that time I was working as a full-time music therapist, and I never really ever thought that I would be a performer.
Wow.
Nor did I ever perform in a venue before. I had been working full-time for an agency, in schools and group homes. But through that, I really learned how to improvise and to listen. And so I knew that if his content of his words really showed that, like, he's into awareness and listening and was also open to having different people on the stage. So that day I really didn't think too much. I just like went up to him and was like, "You're amazing. If you ever need a harpist, let me know." And the funny thing was when he said, "Oh yeah, send me your stuff," I was like, "I don't have anything recorded. I work full-time as a music therapist. Like, I don't have any stuff." So I just improvised and sent it to him. And then, that opened me up to, I never been on interviews like this. Like, I never heard my voice in headphones to record. So it's funny that this project has pushed both of our boundaries,
For sure.
and also supported each other to grow in different ways that we wouldn't really expect.
No, it's funny you were mentioning that. I think it was, I think I saw the one video, I think it was a Urban Lounge, I think it was in South Philly that you had. And I remember you were saying, Kuf, that this is like, I'm doing wellness music. And now I'm hearing her talking about having that background with the therapy. So let's see that interconnection.
Yo,
music is therapeutic. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? When it's on the
100%.
proper frequencies, speak to the soul.
Yeah.
And all that.
100%.
And it made me kind of think, because when I first saw you, I might have saw you other stuff prior, but the first that I remember seeing was at the Digital Planet show at Almore. So when I even think about that, and things about their lane, as far as what they're trying to speak on, the positivity and stuff. And it resounded with me, especially because also I watched your full set. I think you had maybe in 2016 Almore set. And I think at that time you were talking about being out in Amsterdam, where family out in the area, and then you coming back because what happened to your brother. But so keeping that positivity, and you could have had something more in the slumps or whatever, but you still try to bring some focus to some light. You know what I mean? And that's 100%. Really resounding with me.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, and I mean, to add on, so obviously, like, Kuf, you bring a spiritual element, and like you both are. I'm glad that you dropped that. I wasn't going to drop the therapist part. I have we have a shared kindred professional background in that. I wanted you to say that first. But with that being like a key element, mindfulness in hip hop is kind of, I think, a theme that's definitely in your shows, definitely in your music. How does that formula for you guys exist as far as like future catalogs or just like what you guys want to do in the future, present and past?
Well, I think right now we love creating these project ideas. And since we've been playing in all different areas, it's easy to come up with them. Like, for example, if Kuf produces all the tracks for a lullaby album that then could have people sit in with from different countries and from different languages that could be played in hospitals. So I think right now the idea is creating a bunch of small projects that are manageable, that we can kind of do well, but they are kind of different and have an ending that can then lead to whatever is next, and allow us to still be on the road. It's hard to have continual like weekly things if we're continuously traveling. So that's been our goal right now.
And so what you were talking about, right? Like a lullaby album, or just right, like you mentioned the like Brandon, you just mentioned like the therapist background. Does that tie into, I saw you, there's a joint venture you both have, it's called Higher Ground Music, and I saw the website. So does that also just like tie into that, if that's an extension of that? And feel free to speak more on a Higher Ground Music.
Yeah, that's like a direct extension on that. So like performances like at venues and stuff like that is we kind of keep under Christine and I, and then stuff that we do in schools or any type of like, community center or whatever it may be, we do under the HG Music LLC. And that's one thing we're definitely working to expand. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. You guys are living the lyrics. It's like right, like I mean, hip hop can always be, and there's several different lanes in hip hop, right?
Sure,
We always hear the keep it real, keep it whatever, but you guys are keeping it real in the positivity lane. You know what I mean? It's like you guys are like going full throttle. You know what I mean? And I don't think a lot of that, at least just I'm just speaking anecdotally. I don't always see a lot of that, especially from you know what I'm saying, like people who like still I'm coming up, you know what I mean? So I think it's awesome that you're living it. You're not just rapping and singing about it, you're also participating in it. You're getting in the weeds with it.
Nah, for sure. That's I feel like that's very important. At least for me, to hold myself accountable to that, because like you said, I mean, I grew up listening to all types of hip hop and influenced by a lot. And I always connected or felt a certain thing, no matter what type of hip hop it was, when it felt real, there was a different feeling. Mm-hmm. So it was important to pattern, like, if I'm going to do this, then I want to walk these lyrics or do, I felt like that was important.
Like that's like a very like direct connection. It's not just words on paper. It's just that's awesome. Like you're connecting with it all the way.
Bringing that up, man. So what were you guys' early influences in music? Because I remember the first time I saw you, and I think I remember saying this to you, you kind of reminded me of like a Far Side, but with like a spiritual element of a Common per se.
Right.
So I'm really interested, and I know you had a career way before Christine. So just give us some of those jewels and gems, man.
So for me, being Philadelphia, the Roots were a big influence. Diggable Planets, that probably might have been one of the favorite. My favorite though, and I think the biggest, was Tupac. I'm a really huge Tupac fan. Just him as an artist and a human, I really am inspired by it and influenced by. I know he's like popular for a lot of the gangster music, and but he has a full spectrum of things he does, just as much as he does that, he does the other two. Very influential and positive and community based. He's all about, lifting the community, and he's a poet and actor, activist, and big Pac fan. Who else? Tribe, of course, Tribe, De La. I think those were the core.
Nice. And Christine, what about you?
I would say a big influence is Joanna Newsom. She was sampled in a Roots song, but
there you go.
She plays the harp and sings, and she took her creativity just the way that she wanted to, like her full expression. Her voice is very unique. She's not trying to be anybody else other than herself. So I always was inspired by her and her authenticity. Sufjan Stevens, he created some cool arrangements that are more contemporary. So keeping that, like arranging all different instruments and like orchestration music, but for today. And I'm inspired by that. And a lot of Motown came from like listening to a lot of Motown in the sense of those simple yet catchy choruses. I feel like I've had inspiration from that, of trying to simplify words. And a lot of Motown has that core, simple, yet you remember it.
Well, Christine gave me some stuff to look up after the show. Some, like, for real, definitely. You definitely give me some takeaways here.
Cool. We know you're Philly. I want to say I don't know if I'm correct, but are you is it West Philly in particular? Is that
No, the funny thing is, of everywhere I lived in Philadelphia, I never lived in West Philly, and people always think, and that's where all the artists live. Yeah, you know, like South Philly was the last place in Philly I lived was South Philly.
Okay.
Yeah. But I lived all over North, Art Museum area. But I spent the most time in South.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was just a personal question. You know, I'm always curious for my Philly people out there. So, you know, developing as an artist, right? As a solo artist, I didn't even know that you had a band. What were some of your career experiences, you know, before meeting Christine and you know, this trio of albums that you guys are about to have?
Yeah. Oh wait, you said what was the history before that?
Right. So
okay.
Your recording career, you know.
Yep. So I guess around that time when we met, I was working on a solo album, and I just finished it, and so for that album, I used that group you were talking about, LP Styles, for when I was performing.
Okay.
They became like my band to perform with. And that album was released on a label called Mad Dragon Records. And so it was Drexel University. They were like the first college to have a record label at that time. And so what it was is the students would work the album. And it was actually a pretty dope experience. The only problem was when they go by tri-semester, so when the semester switched over, new students would come in, everything would start over again.
Okay.
They had to work that out. But yeah, so after that, I joined a record label called Rope-a-Dope Records. And at that time, they had got known in their fame from a band who won a Grammy, and they were on that label. And so they had like a lot of recognition. So I put out an album through them that was called Positive Light. And I never pushed it though, because of the, you know, I'll just say it wasn't
politics.
Yeah.
Wait, if you don't want to say, we'll say it for you.
Yeah, there we go. What's the rule? 10,080 or 10,000.
Oh no, industry 4080 industry labels are shady.
Yeah, there you go. So kids.
So you even experienced it at that level. Wow. You know?
So I never pushed it because it just the energy wasn't right. I'll say that behind it. And after I did that, I started another band, which was the band that Christine saw me with. And I didn't record an album with them. I just was performing a lot. And then I moved to Amsterdam for a few years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then came back.
I actually went to Drexel University, but that makes sense of why I connect you to West Philly, because University City.
Yeah, and I was there a lot.
Yeah, so that makes sense. But go ahead, man. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, no. So after that, I went to I moved to Europe for a while, and then came back when my brother passed away in 2016. And I didn't really do much between 2016 and 17. I was doing shows here and there, but I really wasn't in the right mind state to.
Understandable. Yeah.
Now let me ask you this. So I know you say you were in Amsterdam for a few years. And my experience, because I got family in Belgium, like culturally, as far as because you were talking about the politics earlier about the music, but I know there's one thing in especially Western Europe, where it's Belgium, France, Amsterdam, they're more level of appreciation of like true artistry. You know, when I was talking to my sister, because me and my sister maybe about 12, 13 years apart, but she's put me on artists I didn't know about, like, you know, and I'm like, how you know about this? I mean, I'm talking about people like in 60s, 70s. I wasn't even aware of.
Yeah.
You know, like Nick Drake and stuff. I'm like, who's Nick Drake? And I'm going back and she was saying like, you know, they just have more access almost. They're like, they're not looking what's trendy. They're looking the true artistry. And that's one thing I always noticed. So was that kind of attract you to Amsterdam, the musically for the creative juices, or?
Yeah, but what you were saying is 100% on point. Their appreciation seems to be a bit greater, or maybe it's just that what they're attracted to is so much different than what people are attracted to here. And they're like the places I was, like, they're really into soulful music, like the Motown, that era, Philly International Records. And you can tell, you could hear it in the musicians over there. And they work really hard to perfect that sound. But originally what took me there was a girl. I met someone and moved there. But while moving there, I was able to meet like a community of artists and got in with them and was able to do music there. And just do different creative stuff to maintain and live. And so yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
And in your guys' journey, I don't know if this next part was while you guys have been traveling as a duo or just is in your solo, Kuf. I saw that you guys have opened for Lauryn Hill, Wyclef, The Roots, Slick Rick, Bone, Bruce Springsteen. What, like, I saw these names, I was like, wow, like what's that like? And has that been also as you guys have been, you know, doing the community album promo?
Yeah, so the Lauryn Hill and like Common Roots, that was like solo stuff. The Wyclef, Slick Rick, Yellow Man, who else? Diggable. Yes, that's been with us.
Nice.
But they're all like, it's for me, opening for Diggable has probably been like, even though some of the other names might be more popular or more known or something,
recognizable,
for me, my like the one that meant the most was opening for Diggable. Like
the home team, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you saying it, I could kind of tell looking back, you know, we were kind of masking up in that era, that time period, but you were active on the photography tip. Like you were just, after you got off, you were just a fan. I could tell.
Yeah.
100%.
I was fanning it up.
That would be, Brandon, that would be like if I was an artist and I got to open for Naughty by Nature. I'm Jersey. You know what I mean? So, I understand that.
With 2/3 Philly, 1/3 Jersey over here.
Okay, word. We're in Jersey.
Like Newark, Elizabeth.
Newark,
I'm not far from those cities.
Okay, word.
I grew up in Neptune.
Yeah.
Oh, Neptune. I are you familiar? I don't know what our age difference is. I used to intern somewhere over there at some rock station many moons ago called G Rock. Does that ring a yeah? I interned over there like in 2007 for college credits. Yeah. So you said Neptune, you took me right back to 2007. That's awesome. There's 2 New Jersey people on this. I like it.
You're not alone.
Oh man, we have almost half now. So we'll give you guys some time at the back end of this episode just to drop whatever you got coming up. I mean, y'all probably got a show tomorrow, man. You guys
do. 9 o'clock in the morning.
Wow, nice. Where at?
In out by Collingswood, New Jersey.
Okay. Wow, I can honestly say I do not know where that is. I've been in New Jersey my whole life.
It's clthat to Philly.
Oh, okay. So it's like on the, all right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Well, you know what on that note, it was the Kəʻmyo Center the biggest, like what's the biggest event you guys have done today?
I think maybe the Fillmore in Fishtown. I think that probably, we opened for artist G Love. Yeah, that was probably the biggest one to date.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, seeing y'all live, man, it's incredible. Saw you guys at Asbury Park. Didn't get a chance to chat at that one, but I mean, with the beach element outside.
Oh, yo, that was beautiful.
Asbury Park's been up and coming for a minute. Like they
Yeah.
definitely, like I hear more and more about Asbury Park's probably like 45 minutes maybe from me, but I hear a lot about Asbury Park. Like I've been to Porta's there, but that's like years ago. But I just feel like their scene has just been booming.
Yeah, it is, for sure.
Yeah, a lot of music history there, man. Prince, Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
All that jazz. But we're gonna do a little, just some music talk outside of you guys right now. So if you can, in my opinion, hip hop is benefiting well of what you guys are doing, music in general. What are some projects, past, present, that have benefited the music scene to you guys? Like what's something that you guys are checking for that has your interest just as much as you guys have our interest?
Like something that came out already or something on the way?
Both. Something that maybe you might be like checking for, or could have been in the past that is just like, man, this is just something that we all are indebted to, Or it could be vice versa. It could be something that was like, man, the world shouldn't have got this.
I think for me, I think albums by those people I was inspired by.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think Diggable's first album and Tribe's first album, Tribe's first album. I feel like both of them were an introduction to heavily jazz influenced hip hop.
Yes. Yeah.
And it created a lane for a lot of artists, and it just opened up, like, the audience of who was listening to hip hop and got into hip hop.
I love that Jimmy's digging cats on
Diggable,
yeah, because they took the Kool and the Gang sample, but they just that album top to bottom. But that's probably I'm glad you're saying that one, because that's probably my favorite song on that one. So
indeed.
What about you, Christine?
I think it's really cool when you see hip hop artists have a whole orchestra behind them. I'm just one instrument that supports an MC. So I think it would be on my bucket list to try to arrange. We've done it with an organization called Play on Philly in Philly, with some students. And it was a 6-week residency where they worked to create orchestration, like ensemble pieces to our music, and actually write all the notation out. And we went there and like worked with them to do it. But it's just really fascinating to me to see just the blend of chamber music, ensemble music, all of that together in contexts you wouldn't typically see. I mean, that's kind of our basis of our message is bringing our music to places that wouldn't typically have music. So that's one inspiration when you
we saw that Nas one.
Well, that's what I was talking Nas one. It don't matter.
Crazy.
Yeah, that was a gift.
When you bring up the chamber music element, that reminds me of an artist that some of y'all might know, if not everybody, Esperanza Spalding.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And you remind me also of a thread of that element as well.
She's amazing.
Amazing. I don't know if she's still like currently recording, but
she definitely, she's dope.
Yeah, but it's great that you mentioned, Christine, that live element, because I feel like on a mainstream level, like I know you had like the Roots have always been a band, right? It seemed like early Kanye, as he got bigger, he was bringing that, because I noticed after him too, like as far as the mainstream guys, I'm not saying that the indie people weren't already doing it. I noticed other people started to do like their classic albums, but they were bringing the live band element to it. I felt like just from my lens, I felt like after he was, just doing certain things with trying to put more like that stage presence, other artists, I feel like other artists on the mainstream followed suit, and definitely have enjoyed shows like that as a result.
For sure. It's funny too. A lot of like, mainstream artists, pop artists and stuff, they come to Philadelphia and they handpick their bands and take that to, so there's like a lot of Philly musicians who do the mainstream tours and stuff like that. Philly's like a hotbed of musicians. Yeah, indeed.
Interesting. Ray, who you got, man, as far as artist or group that's bringing it past present?
You know what? My personal will always be Big Pun's the punishment. Like he's Puerto Rican, I'm Puerto Rican, but but I always say to people, I was like, it's not like he's rapping in Spanish or anything. But what it did for me, for my ears, because he came out when I was 14, it set what is still a standard for me in what I enjoy in rhyme schemes, in forcefulness, in how you emphasize your lyricism. He had variety, and it really was nice to see, like, somebody from the extended family get on. That was just a perk, right? Because I've seen Hispanic rappers that I thought were terrible. So you know what I mean? So it's definitely not that, but I will say, when I go back to 98, Brandon, like Renz, we always talk about 98 and hip hop and the amount of releases that came in there. Capital Punishment was in there, and I feel like but he was the first Latin rapper to go platinum, so he's showing other people, especially Hispanics, like it can be done. But from a purely music consumption perspective, I know he's influenced by other greats, but I like the way he did his interpretation of who he was influenced by and added his personality in it. So that's always just gonna be mine. That hit at a certain point, and it's never left me.
Yeah, his voice is crazy.
Yeah, and it was crazy because prior to his death, he was his breath control. He was doing a lot for somebody. Eventually, he got too big, but he was doing a lot for somebody of his size. And he was respected by a lot of peers. So, for sure.
Yeah, Pun is a fan favorite here on our.
Yeah.
What about you, Zoe the God, man? Who you got, bro?
Man, I'm gonna go at stuff that we didn't need. I think we can always talk about stuff that was good, implemented.
Right. Put it in the
track. Yeah. I'm gonna look at it for two artists with one particular sound. Future and Wayne, just overkilling the auto-tune. Where when I look at hip hop today, and we were talking about high frequency music and the positivity, everything's so low frequency right now.
Very true.
A lot of the auto-tune, and to me, like, anybody can use auto-tune at this point. You can't say, we'll just add some auto-tune. And even for artists, a lot of people are like, oh, well, Lil Baby, and I'll try to listen to the artist, but like, I can't listen to a whole verse in auto-tune.
Yeah.
And take you seriously, because I'm looking at on a live perspective, like, okay, now you got to have all these manipulations of your voice that works perfectly. And I remember, I think Future was at the Roots Picnic years back. I think we skipped that one. That might have been when I stopped going to the Roots Picnic. But there, people complained saying they didn't have the technology. The sound wasn't right. So if
it becomes a crutch, that's the problem. It's too much of a crutch. Yeah,
it's too much of a crutch now, where it's so dominant. We mix that with drill music, and there's so much negativity. Like, there's always, obviously, we talked about the gangster rap, the street element of hip hop. But there was always some type of balance, whether it was NWA, whether it was Public Enemy, Dead Prez, so forth. That's all out the window now. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm gonna get my ops. This is what I'm gonna do. We're gonna run it back again. So I just think that's something that we don't need. Obviously it's refreshing that we have some of the newer mainstream artists, whether it's Kendrick, whether it's Cole, whether it's Crit, that try to counteract that.
For
But
sure.
I just think a lot of the newer generation hip hop right now, I just feel like this lost, you know, in a lot of ways, and they're just trying to find themselves.
Indeed.
Yeah. Future in general is interesting. Like he's gonna be a greatest for somebody, but
yeah, he's already on some of the younger generations Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
But look at Future's past. So like he's Extension Dungeon Family, but it's almost like the complete opposite spectrum.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
support him. Yeah, that's they're mini Motown within themselves. Like
right. Yeah. I'll so because we got Kuf and Christina on, I'm gonna go with Nat Flow. I'll you said the Roots earlier, man. The Roots is like, I mean, they're the best. You know what I'm saying? But with that being said, with the jazz element to hip hop, I'm gonna go with Guru of Gangstar. I just finished listening to a DJ Premier interview, and he was saying how Guru, they were kind of like two sets, put together.
Right.
And so we kind of seen them as a group, but really in real time, they were kind of operating as like solo acts. Like they agreed early on that Premier's like, hey, as long as I can do records for other people, Guru, I could do my solo stuff. And Guru had a series called Jazzmatazz.
Yeah.
And, I just now found why he did that. He said he didn't want to oversaturate the Gangstar music with the jazz element.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
He did not want them to be known for that. So he said, listen, I could just do that, a series, and get that off on my end. And then our Gangstar stuff.
I never knew that.
Yeah. I just learned that this month.
Right.
So,
it's funny you mentioned Gangstar, B-Stacks, because for no reason at all, last night into today, I was listening to Moment of Truth for no reason at all. So it's funny that you mentioned that. I was like, oh, nice.
And you know what else is crazy about that? When we were doing this project, I'm like, let me do some research and see if the harp has been used.
Mm-hmm.
And all through that first album of Gangstar, Premier sampled a lot Wow. Oh yeah, that's crazy.
Oh wow, look, we got look at that. We got the three-way going here. Yeah. Wow. And he was doing that. Like their first album was like 89 or something. That's what's wow. Yeah. It's like
Yep.
Wow. Well, yeah, we're gonna get you guys out of here at a nice time, man. You guys are touring. You got stuff going on tomorrow. Can you just give the listeners just a brief backdrop? I know you have it on IG, social, Facebook and Twitter and all those things, but what you guys got coming up?
Yeah. The next things we have, so we'll be October 3rd and 4th, we'll be in New York at on 42nd Street. I guess right around Times Square. It's an open space they have for artists. It's through a grant fund. So we'll be there October 3rd and 4th at like 6 o'clock. And it's a free show to the public, all ages. And then the 6th will be in Philadelphia at Brooklyn Bowl with a group from France called Morchiba. They were like they were a thing. I guess it was 2000s or so. But I was a fan, so that'll be exciting.
Oh, nice. Yeah, there's a connection there.
Gotta make it.
Yeah, and then the 7th we're in Knoxville, Tennessee, at a spot called Bajau Theater. Yeah, so that's
you guys moving around.
Next handful of shows. Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Indeed.
Active, man, like the song.
So
and we're finishing this album. The album, we got to mix like 3 more songs and the album will be done. And this will be
the one. Go ahead. Sorry.
This will be our first album that we actually produced. Like all the other albums, we worked with other producers. This is our first like fully produced, just us album.
Oh, so this is like your baby right here. Then.
Yeah, exactly.
And am I saying it right? Is that I was doing some searches. I saw there was an upcoming project. It was titled Hypnagogia. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Hypnagogia.
It's that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go, yo.
I like this dynamic. I know this is gonna be a weird way to say it, but like I feel like because I listened to some of the solo stuff, and then I listened to like when you guys get together, and Brandon Renzo, I think you guys will feel me on this one. I feel like when they get together, they have the Freddie Gibbs Mad Lib connection. Like, you know, like I know it's like a weird analogy, but you know what I mean? Like he doesn't like every project, but that's what I'm saying. And when they get together, it's like great things happen. And I was just that was the analogy that came to mind. And I was like, I gotta say it. And I say that with like the highest of compliment.
I agree. This current album has probably been, I mean, of course, because we're producing it ourselves, but also just like aesthetically, like just the lyrics and the music. This has been my favorite and what I feel is strongest
nice
project to date for sure.
I did feel like your sound, like I went through the solos you have on the streaming, and then I heard this one, and it did feel like just sound alone, like the world opened up a bit more. Like there was parts of the sound library I didn't hear on the previous ones that you guys went to when you guys got together and put this project out. You went to different parts of the library and you know, and to very good results.
Yeah, thank you. It's true. It's funny. It's like it's one of those things where like it's funny because you as an artist, you like when you're in a certain place at that time, you know, you release it and that's where you were at that time. Then the next one you release, you're somewhere else. So it's like it's one of those things where it's very like, as an artist, you're self-conscious, like, damn, like these are out. So people see your growth, like what you started with and then how it comes. So you're hoping that it's going like that, like, oh, that was cool, but this is better. So that's what, you know, that's what the aim is. But at the same time, it's like, damn, I wish I could take that down and not, you know what I mean?
Well, right, everybody, right, especially as an artist, I would imagine everybody's their own worst critic. Nobody's their own worst critic. And you guys are artists, so you guys are going to be extra meticulous, right? Like we're like us, we're fans, we'll be like, that's fine, but you're hearing something that we don't like because of that artistry. I can understand that.
Indeed. But yeah, it's all, you know, just like anything, and like it's all trial and error and hands-on and, you know, learning and growing.
Hey, got you guys this far, so I you know what I mean? So why ruin a winning formula?
Listen, man,
it's like maturation.
Thank y'all for coming on our show. Everybody go stream Lift Your Voices. I believe that's probably like one of the newest tracks y'all got out. Your dope reggae kind of mosh with hip hop. I know I played that thing out, you know what I mean, a gang of times.
All right.
I'll let the fellas give their sentiments, but again, man, thank you guys. Looking forward to the trio of albums. The third piece, which is nine piece.
3 is the magic number.
Once again, thank you guys for taking your time. We gotta let you go so you guys can get a decent night's rest, and I hope you rock out tomorrow's show.
Indeed, thank you for having us.
Definitely appreciate y'all sitting down with us, breaking bread with us. You know, much love.
All right, and on that note, Tres Leches Radio out. Peace.
Peace.